Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews.
This is Freya.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Amy.
And we're bringing you another video. So as always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, guys. We've got a bunch of videos coming out for you guys. We love to talk about authors. We love to talk about books. And for every subscriber we get, we're going to go ahead and give that puppy 10 belly rubs and a TREAT.
Or a BONE.
Which is also TREAT. Australian
Much
Shepherds
better.
are brilliant, so she understands
We have
us.
to spell things, and even then...
Yeah, we have to switch it up from time to time. So for today, I want to talk about another author and another book in the lit RPG, fantasy, adult-oriented, adult-aspected
Brown chicken, brown cow?
series. I want to talk about Suited for Luck by Daniel Shinhofen. And again, this definitely falls under the harem type of books, which I read a whole bunch of. I was on quite the kick for a while. Get ready for all my lit RPG reviews coming out soon, because that is my current kick. Just finished Alpha Physics. That's a great book, by the way. So Daniel Shinhofen, as usual, I'm going to talk about four things. I'm going to talk about the world, I'm going to talk about the characters, I'm going to talk about the plot, and I'm going to talk about the writing style. So for the world, like a lot of the lit RPG and especially the fantasy-oriented lit RPG and harem lit books, the character is a modern-day character, you know, not quite your everyday man, but, you know, a modern-day character that dies and is given the option of rebirth by some unnamed deity. Well, in this case, the deity does get named, but by some powerful deity to be reborn in another world.
Probably just for amusement.
And well, not quite. That actually
but I mean,
leads into the plot. So the world in this case is a fantasy world. It has almost all of the tropes that you would get from fantasy. It's got its dwarves, it's got its elves, you know, all the usual stuff. It's got minor magics, but it's Old West.
Oh.
It is Old West.
Interesting.
And the character's name, his last name, is Holiday.
Doc?
Spelled, of course, differently. So naturally, he goes by the name Doc. Now, this goddess, so the world, again, Old West, fantasy-ish. The character, Doc Holiday. Now, being reborn into this body, he gets a few advantages, and the goddess gives him some advantages as well. So that's where you get into the game lit RPG side of things, because he has basically boons. He has his powers. Some of them are only useful, say, once a day, or once every 3 days, or maybe 3 times in one day, or he can use it every hour. So he lives as a gambler, and the goddess, and this is getting into the plot now, so the goddess is the goddess Luck, whose worship has fallen, as there's other almost darker evil gods that have risen up, and basically Doc has agreed to be her priest, to get her name out there, and to get people worshiping her again. So he starts out in this small western mining town, and it starts out as a gambler, and of course his patron goddess is Luck, so he's got, you know, a few boons based on luck, plus a few based on you know, gunfighting, such as I think he can make it so for like 10 seconds or something like that, a bullet won't hit him, just, you know, pass right through him, stuff like that. But this town is basically owned by you know, your evil business people. Just it's almost a standard trope from westerns. Owned by these evil business people, evil gamblers, mine owners, stuff like that. Exactly. You know, poker cheats, stuff like that. So Doc does a few things. He uses his poker skills to get himself seed money, and with the seed money, he starts trying to invest in businesses. Now, these one or two people own almost every business in town. They hold the deeds, the debts of almost every single business in town. This world is also extremely racist towards the non-human races that still live there. For instance, non-humans, the doctor refuses to treat them. But, you know, their witch doctors, shamans, stuff like that, are against the law, except under certain circumstances. So Doc uses his money to slowly and cleverly start buying out some of the deeds and debts underneath. First, he needs to build up a larger bankroll. Using his luck, he is able to find an unfound mine. And then using his natural non-bigotry, he hires the best people for the job. So he ends up stealing basically an entire dwarven clan who's working for somebody else, because he actually makes one of the dwarves the actual mine foreman, and he works out a pay scale that is just basically a profit share for these guys. So he actually treats them
the way
well.
they should be treated.
And same thing, the owner of the saloon, gambling house, and brothel that he plays in is an elf with heavy debts towards these people. So he introduces what I find amusing about it is he introduces Texas Hold'em.
Nice.
And he has to teach them how to do it. And then he introduces the concept of a tournament. So he basically teaches them Texas Hold'em and then introduces them to the World Series of Poker. Because it's you got like your big $10,000 buy-in and stuff like that. And he uses that and the poker and the tournament and side bets to get some of these guys to put up deeds and some of the debts that they hold. And then he sneakily manages to buy back some of the other debts that these guys are holding. They don't even realize that he is able to buy back. And through the process, again, he collects these highly talented people that are basically being used as slaves almost by offering them better deals. He steals the best accountant in town. He steals the best lawyer in town. The dwarves. Now it's harem lit, so he definitely ends up banging a whole bunch of them.
Does he bang a dwarf?
And
lady?
As a matter of fact,
Oh, no.
one of the dwarves, because of the healing thing, when he saves the life of basically a dog creature, via magic, via his healing ability, they take him, they arrest him, and they're probably going to hang him, but he what they pull off kind of real fast before that is he is the husband of one of the dwarves, which makes her, I think, his second or third wife, and the dwarves recognize him as one of their shamans. So there's a legal thing written in there with some treaties and such to give a loophole, and then since he bought back the deed to the brothel and saloon, they actually turn that into an official house of worship. So now he can do healing there as long as people actually bring them to him. So like somebody he can't go because like somebody gets shot, and like that's how he originally ended up in the and the only reason he was able to do that healing, that other loophole, was that he healed like an affiliate of the clan or something like that. So the loophole being the shaman, he was also able to do healing outside the house of worship because it was someone that was affiliated some way. I can't remember the exact loopholes they used, but it was absolutely fascinating. And it's a series. He's written a series, and it's a great series. Shinhofen writes really well. He definitely, in this Old West setting, reminds me of Matt Brown and William W. Johnstone and all these great Western authors, Louis L'Amour. He writes the Western setting and the Western style really well, but he also writes the fantasy style really well. Like there's this, I don't know what she is. So it would be like
you if you wrote a fantasy, like you, the fact
I love the Old West, yeah, and really know it. I mean, he writes it so well. And I mean, like I said, he's got, I don't know if it's a dryad or but a really, really powerful forest creature that is almost vampiric.
Probably a Maynard then.
Ends up part of his harem also because of his ability to self-heal, he can barely hold on, so he can actually sleep with her and not die. So she ends up bonded to him. He ends up saving. You got like almost like an elven ranger with their it wasn't quite a Guinevere analog, but it was close. They had their cat type companion that that he helps, ends up injured. He helps, and they end up working for him, which actually ends up helping the dwarves because now you've got basically an elven scout out in the woods. Because of course the mine gets attacked, and I could go on and on. I mean, the series is fantastic. If you rip out the adult stuff, it's still an incredible book. And I can't tell you if it's a western or if it's a fantasy. This is so good. And I think the
like
first
Westworld kind of thing.
almost. I mean, it's just it's incredible, and the character
You're
grows.
even making me want to read it.
It's oh god, it's so good, and the character grows. That's where you get the lit RPG because he's got those abilities, and he gains new abilities as he gets more powerful. In fact, he and this one, unlike a lot of these harem lit ones and stuff like that, he's not at all taking advantage of any of. There's no deals that favor him. He genuinely is only trying to help everybody. He saves the life of a little girl, heals her mother. This is before he could come out as a healer. Heals her mother. Eventually, in later books, that actually ends up making the child a priest of Lady Luck. He ends up with the ability to make 1 or 2 priests. At this point, he's got half the town worshiping Lady Luck. So as she's grown in power, he's able to he gets more boons, and one of them is the ability to create sub priests with minor healing. So he actually makes the child a healer. It's fantastic. He's had 3 books so far out in the series, and I'm just dying for book 4. I would reread the series if I didn't have a list of about 40 books I need to read right now.
Only 40?
So I'll
That's
chop
short
my
for
head.
you.
So, yep, please, if you like westerns, fantasy, or brown chicken, brown cow, harem, adult stuff, you will love Daniel Shinhofen. It's not the only thing he's written, by the way. You will love Daniel Shinhofen and Suited for Luck. It's a fantastic series. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons.
Do it for the puppy.
Exactly, do it for the pub. And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye now.
Bye.